The Fossil Fleets of Terra. Chapter 1, The Outback Anomaly. The sun beat down on the red earth, baking the parched landscape. Lyra Shaw wiped sweat from her brow, her eyes scanning the dusty horizon. She had always loved the Australian outback, its harsh beauty resonating with her adventurous spirit. But today, the endless expanse of scrubland seemed to mock her, mirroring the barrenness of her latest dig site. "Anything?" she called out to her assistant, Finn, who was hunched over a scanner, its antennae twitching like a curious insect. Finn shook his head, a wry grin on his face. "Nothing but sand and rocks, Doc. Another day, another dud." Lyra sighed, pushing a stray strand of hair out of her face. She had been leading this expedition for months, hoping to uncover evidence of an ancient Aboriginal civilization. They were searching for traces of a rumored underground city, a place of legends spoken in hushed tones by the local elders. But so far, their efforts had yielded nothing of note. "Let's pack it up for the day," she said, signaling to the rest of the team. The team, a motley crew of archaeologists, geologists, and technicians, began to disassemble their equipment, their movements slow and wary in the waning sunlight. Lyra watched them for a moment, a pang of guilt twisting in her stomach. She had brought them here, lured by the promise of discovery, but so far she had only delivered disappointment. Just as she was about to climb into her jeep, Finn let out a startled cry. "Doc, you need to see this!" Lyra rushed over to where Finn stood, his eyes wide with amazement. The scanner in his hand was beeping rapidly, its screen displaying a strange, irregular pattern. "What is it?" Lyra asked, her heart pounding in her chest. "I don't know," Finn stammered, "but it's big, really big." Lyra took the scanner from him and examined the readings. Her eyes widened as she realized what it meant. There was something buried beneath the sand, something massive and metallic. It was unlike anything she had ever seen before. "It's not natural," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "It's artificial." The team worked feverishly into the night, using ground-penetrating radar and other instruments to map out the mysterious object. As the image gradually took shape on their screens, a sense of awe and trepidation filled the camp. The object was enormous, dwarfing even the largest pyramids of Earth. It was triangular in shape, with smooth, seamless surfaces that reflected the moonlight with an eerie glow. It looked like nothing they had ever encountered before. "It's not human," one of the team members whispered, his voice trembling. "It's not of this world," another added, his face pale. Lyra felt a shiver run down her spine. She had always believed that humanity was not alone in the universe, but the reality of encountering evidence of an alien presence was both thrilling and terrifying. As dawn broke, the team made their way to the center of the anomaly. With trembling hands, Lyra brushed away the sand, revealing a smooth, metallic surface. She traced the lines with her fingers, feeling a strange energy pulsing beneath her touch. Suddenly, the ground began to tremble. The sand shifted, revealing a massive hatch that opened with a hiss of escaping air. Lyra and her team exchanged nervous glances, their hearts pounding in their chests. With a deep breath, Lyra stepped forward, her flashlight illuminating the darkness beyond the hatch. A set of stairs descended into the unknown, beckoning her forward. The Outback anomaly had revealed its secrets, and Lyra was determined to uncover them no matter the cost. Chapter 2. Whispers of the Guardians. The air inside the subterranean complex was stale and cold, the silence broken only by the echoing drip of water and the hushed whispers of Lyra's team. Each step down the dimly lit stairs sent a tremor of anticipation through her. They had descended deep into the earth, following a winding path that seemed to burrow into the very heart of the ancient structure. "This is insane," Finn muttered, his voice barely a whisper, as he fumbled with his headlamp, the beam bouncing erratically across the damp walls. "What do you think we'll find down there, Doc?" "I don't know," Lyra admitted, her eyes fixed on the seemingly endless staircase that disappeared into the darkness below. Her heart pounded in her chest, a mix of excitement and trepidation. "But I have a feeling it's going to change everything." The walls, smooth and cold to the touch, bore strange markings, a language of symbols and patterns that seemed both alien and vaguely familiar. Lyra, a scholar of ancient cultures, couldn't help but run her gloved hand along the inscriptions, her mind racing with possibilities. After what felt like an eternity, the stairs ended abruptly, opening into a vast, cavernous chamber. The air hummed with a low, steady thrum, a vibration that seemed to resonate deep within Lyra's bones. The chamber's walls shimmered with an ethereal blue light, casting dancing shadows that played tricks on the eyes. "What is this place?" Emily, the team's tech specialist, whispered, her voice filled with awe. "I don't know," Lyra replied, her eyes scanning the chamber, taking in the sheer scale and otherworldly beauty of it. "But it feels alive." In the center of the chamber, a colossal cylindrical structure rose from the floor like a monolith. Its surface was covered in intricate markings, similar to those on the walls, but pulsating with a soft blue light. Lyra approached the structure cautiously, drawn to it like a moth to a flame. As she got closer, the markings seemed to shift and dance, as if responding to her presence. She reached out a trembling hand and touched the cool, smooth surface. The moment her fingers made contact, the markings erupted in a cascade of light, bathing the chamber in an intense blue glow. The humming sound intensified, filling the air with a symphony of vibrations that resonated through Lyra's body. Then a holographic projection shimmered into existence above the cylinder. A figure materialized, tall and ethereal, its features vaguely human but impossibly perfect. It gazed at Lyra with eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of ages. "Greetings," the figure said in a deep, resonant voice that seemed to echo through the chamber. "I am Guardian, caretaker of this vessel." Lyra gasped, her heart pounding in her chest. The Guardian's voice was like music, soothing yet powerful, and its presence filled her with a sense of reverence. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "I am a construct, a digital intelligence created by an ancient civilization to safeguard this world," Guardian replied. "And you, Dr. Lyra Shaw, are the first human to set foot in this chamber in millennia." Lyra was speechless. The implications of Guardian's words were staggering. "This vessel," Guardian continued, "is but one of many. A fleet of Guardians, hidden beneath the earth, waiting to be awakened. A fleet of advanced warships built by an ancient human civilization?" Lyra's mind reeled. It was a revelation that shattered everything she thought she knew about history. "What was their purpose?" she asked, her voice trembling with excitement. "To protect this planet from those who would seek to exploit its resources," Guardian replied, "and to ensure that humanity fulfills its destiny among the stars." Chapter 3, The Empire's Grasp. The news rippled through the galactic empire like a shockwave. A primitive planet, a backwater world called Earth, held the key to a power that could reshape the galactic order. Lyra's discovery sent tremors through the corridors of power, reaching the ears of Grand Moff Tarkin, the Empire's iron-fisted ruler. A week after the discovery, a sleek, imposing Imperial cruiser descended from the clouds, casting a shadow over the Outback dig site. Lyra watched from a distance, her heart pounding as a delegation of Imperial officers, clad in crisp uniforms and gleaming armor, marched towards her makeshift camp. At their heads strode Grand Moff Tarkin, his face etched with the lines of authority and ambition. His eyes, cold and calculating, scanned the surroundings, taking in the primitive technology and makeshift shelters with barely concealed disdain. "Dr. Lyra Shaw, I presume?" Tarkin's voice was smooth yet carried an undercurrent of menace. Lyra stepped forward, her chin held high. "Grand Moff Tarkin," she acknowledged, her voice steady despite the nervous flutter in her stomach. "We have received intriguing reports regarding your recent discovery," Tarkin continued, his eyes narrowing as he glanced at the entrance to the subterranean complex. "We are here to assess the situation and determine the Empire's course of action." Lyra's mind raced. She knew Tarkin's reputation as a ruthless pragmatist, a man who would stop at nothing to consolidate his power. She had to tread carefully, protect the Guardian fleet, and buy time for her team to prepare. "Of course, Grand Moff," she replied, a polite smile masking her apprehension. "We are at your disposal." Over the next few days, Tarkin and his entourage toured the facility, their expressions a mix of fascination and barely concealed greed. Lyra led them through the cavernous chamber, explaining the Guardian's origins and purpose, careful not to reveal too much. But Tarkin was not easily fooled. He saw the potential of the Guardian fleet, a power that could crush his enemies and solidify his grip on the galaxy. He made his intentions clear during a private meeting with Lyra. "The Guardian fleet is a relic of a bygone era," Tarkin declared, his voice dripping with condescension. "It is a dangerous weapon in the hands of a primitive species like yourselves." Lyra bristled at his arrogance. "The Guardians were built by our ancestors," she retorted. "They are our legacy, not yours." Tarkin's smile was cold. "Legacy or not, the fleet now falls under the jurisdiction of the Galactic Empire. It is our duty to ensure that such power is not misused." Lyra's heart sank. She knew what this meant. Tarkin intended to seize control of the fleet and use it for his own ends. "I will not allow that to happen," she said, her voice firm. Tarkin leaned forward, his eyes boring into hers. "Do not underestimate the Empire's reach, Dr. Shaw. We have the means to take what we want." Lyra met his gaze without flinching. "And we have the will to defend what is ours." Tarkin rose from his seat, a hint of amusement in his eyes. "We shall see, Dr. Shaw. We shall see." As Tarkin turned to leave, Lyra felt a surge of defiance. She would not let the Empire steal humanity's legacy. She would fight tooth and nail to protect the Guardian fleet and ensure that it fulfilled its true purpose, to safeguard Earth and usher in a new era for humanity. Chapter 4. Flames of Defiance. The serenity of the outback night was shattered by a blinding flash, followed by a deafening roar that shook the earth. Lyra bolted upright in her tent, her heart pounding as alarms blared throughout the camp. "What's happening?" Finn yelled, stumbling out of his tent, his eyes wide with fear. "The Empire," Lyra said grimly, pulling on her boots. "They're attacking." As they emerged from their tents, they were met with a scene of chaos. Smoke billowed from the dig site, flames licking at the edges of the subterranean complex. The ground trembled as explosions rocked the earth, sending shockwaves through the air. Lyra's mind raced. This wasn't Tarkin's doing. The attack was too brazen, too reckless. It had the hallmarks of the Obsidian Order, a shadowy organization rumored to operate within the Empire, their motives shrouded in secrecy. "We have to get to the Guardians," Lyra shouted over the din, grabbing Finn's arm. "They're our only chance." They sprinted towards the entrance to the complex, dodging debris and ducking under falling beams. The air was thick with smoke and the acrid stench of burning metal. Inside, the once pristine corridors were now a maze of twisted metal and sparking wires. Lyra and Finn finally reached the control room, where the rest of the team was frantically working to activate the Guardian fleet. The faces of the young pilots were pale with fear, but their eyes burned with determination. "Are we ready?" Lyra asked, her voice barely audible over the deafening alarms. "Almost," Emily replied, her fingers flying across the controls. "Just a few more minutes." Lyra turned to the pilots, her gaze sweeping across their faces. "This is it," she said, her voice ringing with conviction. "This is our home, our legacy. We will not let the Empire take it from us." A cheer erupted from the pilots, their fear giving way to a surge of adrenaline. They had trained for this moment, and they were ready to fight. "All ships, launch!" Lyra commanded, her voice echoing through the fleet's communication channels. One by one, the Guardian ships rose from their subterranean berths, their engines roaring to life. They shot out into the night sky, a swarm of glowing triangles converging on the Imperial fleet. The Obsidian Order's ships, caught off guard by the sudden counterattack, scrambled to defend themselves. Laser fire streaked across the sky, illuminating the battlefield with flashes of brilliant light. The Guardian fleet, guided by Lyra's tactical brilliance and the raw courage of her pilots, weaved through the enemy formation, their weapons blazing. The battle raged for hours, the fate of Earth hanging in the balance. The Guardian ships, though outnumbered, proved to be formidable adversaries. Their advanced technology and superior firepower gave them a decisive edge. But the Obsidian Order was relentless, their ships swarming like angry insects. Lyra knew they couldn't hold out forever. They needed a miracle. And then it happened. The Guardian fleet began to glow, a soft blue light emanating from their hulls. The light intensified, forming a shimmering shield that deflected the enemy's attacks. The Obsidian Order's ships faltered, their weapons powerless against the Guardian's energy shield. The tide of the battle had turned. With a final desperate push, the Guardian fleet drove the enemy away, their ships limping back to their base, defeated. As the smoke cleared, Lyra and her team emerged from the complex, their faces streaked with grime and sweat. They had faced overwhelming odds and emerged victorious. They had defended their home, their legacy, and their future. The Outback anomaly, once a place of mystery and wonder, was now a symbol of hope and defiance. Humanity had risen from the ashes, ready to take its rightful place among the stars. Chapter 5: Echoes of a Lost Past. The battle raged around Lyra, a maelstrom of laser fire and exploding ships. The Obsidian Order's forces, though momentarily surprised, had regrouped and intensified their assault. Lyra, strapped into the command chair of the Guardian flagship, felt the ship shudder with each near miss, the air heavy with the acrid scent of ozone. "Captain, we're losing shields!" Emily's voice crackled over the comm, her usually calm tone laced with a hint of panic. "We can't hold them off much longer," another pilot shouted. Lyra gritted her teeth, her hands tightening on the controls. The Guardian ships were powerful, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. Desperation gnawed at her, but she refused to surrender. Suddenly a wave of warmth washed over her, and a calming voice resonated through her mind. "Lyra," the Guardian's voice echoed, gentle yet filled with ancient wisdom. "Do not despair. We are not alone." As the Guardian spoke, the ship's systems began to hum with newfound energy. The control panels flickered, and holographic images filled the air, depicting scenes of a forgotten past. Lyra saw sprawling cities of gleaming towers, soaring spacecraft that dwarfed the Empire's cruisers, and humans with extraordinary abilities, their minds alight with psionic energy. She witnessed a golden age of scientific discovery, artistic expression, and interstellar exploration. The Guardian's voice continued, weaving a tale of a civilization that had reached the stars, only to be shattered by a cataclysmic event. The survivors, scattered and weakened, had retreated to Earth, burying their technology and knowledge to protect it from those who would misuse it. "We are the inheritors of their legacy," the Guardian declared. "Their knowledge, their strength, their hope. It is time for humanity to rise again." As the visions faded, a surge of power coursed through the Guardian fleet. The ships began to glow with an ethereal blue light, and their weapons hummed with newfound energy. The pilots, their minds linked to the Guardians, felt a surge of courage and determination. "This is for our ancestors!" Lyra shouted, her voice echoing through the fleet's communication channels. "For Earth! For humanity!" The Guardian ships, now fueled by the collective will of their pilots and the ancient wisdom of their creators, unleashed a devastating counterattack. Their weapons lanced through the enemy formation, tearing apart ships with ease. The Obsidian Order's fleet, caught off guard by this sudden surge of power, faltered and then retreated, their ships scattering like frightened birds. As the last of the enemy's ships vanished into the depths of space, a cheer erupted from the Guardian fleet. Lyra, tears streaming down her face, leaned back in her chair, a wave of relief washing over her. They had done it. They had defended their home, their legacy, and their future. But Lyra knew that this victory was only the beginning. The Empire would not give up easily, and the secrets of the Guardian fleet had yet to be fully revealed. Humanity's journey had just begun, and Lyra was determined to lead them towards a brighter future, one that would honor the legacy of their ancestors and fulfill their destiny among the stars. Chapter 6: Rise of the Guardians. Jubilation washed over Earth like a tidal wave. The news of the victory spread like wildfire, igniting celebrations in every corner of the globe. Fireworks painted the night sky with dazzling colors, their brilliance mirrored in the eyes of millions who had dared to dream of freedom from the Empire's iron grip. In the heart of the Australian outback, Lyra stood on a makeshift podium, her voice amplified across the cheering crowds. Beside her, Talon stood tall, his once stoic face softened by a hint of pride. "Today we celebrate not just a victory over tyranny," Lyra proclaimed, her voice echoing across the vast plain, "but the rediscovery of our own strength, our own resilience, and our own potential. We are the heirs to a legacy that spans millennia, a legacy of ingenuity, courage, and unwavering hope. We are the guardians of Earth, and we will chart our own destiny among the stars." The crowd roared its approval, their voices blending into a symphony of triumph and hope. Lyra looked out at the sea of faces, her heart swelling with pride. She had never imagined herself as a leader, but the events of the past few weeks had thrust her into a role she couldn't deny. Later that evening, as the celebrations died down, Lyra found herself alone with Talon, gazing up at the star-strewn sky. The Guardians, their mission fulfilled, had retreated into the depths of the earth, their presence a comforting hum beneath their feet. "It's hard to believe," Lyra said, her voice soft in the stillness of the night. "Just a few weeks ago, we were digging for artifacts in the dirt. Now we're leading a revolution." Talon nodded, his eyes reflecting the starlight. "You've inspired people, Lyra. You've given them hope." Lyra smiled, a wistful look in her eyes. "I couldn't have done it without you, Talon. You risked everything to help us." Talon reached out and took her hand, his touch sending a shiver down her spine. "I believe in you, Lyra. I believe in humanity." Their eyes met, and for a moment the weight of the world seemed to lift from their shoulders. They were two souls drawn together by fate in a shared belief in a brighter future. But Lyra knew their work was far from over. The Empire was still out there, licking its wounds and plotting its revenge. And the mysteries of the Guardian fleet, of humanity's forgotten past, were far from solved. "We have a long road ahead of us," Lyra said, turning to face Talon. "But together we can face any challenge." Talon squeezed her hand, his eyes filled with unwavering resolve. "Together we can do anything." They stood there for a long time, their fingers intertwined, their gaze fixed on the endless expanse of the universe. The future was uncertain, but they knew one thing for sure. Humanity was no longer a backwater species, clinging to a forgotten planet. They were the guardians of Earth, and their destiny lay among the stars. As the first rays of dawn painted the horizon with a warm glow, Lyra and Talon turned and walked towards the rising sun, hand in hand, ready to embrace whatever the future held. They were the inheritors of a legacy of hope, and they would not let it fade. They would rise like the guardians before them and lead humanity to its rightful place in the cosmos.